Welcome to this week's episode of the first season of the Black Music Collective podcast. If you have been tuning in by now, you know that the Recording Academy and Ebony join forces to celebrate Black music with a new dynamic 6-episode podcast series titled The Black Music Collective. This season, the podcast has brought you some of the top creators and business leaders in Black music, including Deborah Lee, Jeff Harleston, Jimmy Jam, and Terry Lewis, and a whole lot more. If you haven't listened to previous episodes, please, I encourage you to do so. I am MC Lyte, your host, and joining us today is none other than Yolanda Adams, Billboard magazine gospel artist of the last decade. Yolanda Adams is a 4-time Grammy award-winning artist who believes that her music heals, encourages, and inspires others to trust more than just themselves, and I am completely in agreement with that. She triumphantly carries the torch for contemporary gospel and inspirational music. With 13 releases, Yolanda has earned a multitude of accolades, including 4 Grammy Awards. Not only is Yolanda a phenomenal vocalist, she is also an author, designer, record company executive, mother, and the host of her on-air award-winning nationally syndicated radio show, The Yolanda Adams Morning Show. Please welcome Yolanda Adams. It is so nice to see you today. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. It's so wonderful to see you. I know I said it before, but you look amazing. And thank you for having me. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you. Well, this series wouldn't be complete if we didn't have a little bit of Miss Adams with us. So we are lucky to get you. So we'll just dive right on in. You were born in Houston, Texas, and began your career as a school teacher and a part-time model in Houston, all that height that you have been blessed with. Did you always know that you would eventually pursue music as a full-time career?
I never thought that music would be my full-time career because in my life and, in the way things worked with me, I started modeling when I was in high school. And from there, my grandfather said I had to go to college. So I was like, okay, well, once I finish college, can I go to Paris? He's like, yeah, you can do whatever you want after you finish college. And so I finished college and it didn't work out like that because, he passed away to the date a year before I graduated from TSU, Texas Southern University here in Houston. And my mom was like, well, I don't know if, I don't have the money to send you to Paris. I'm like, I'm good. And so I was working at that time at our CBS affiliate. And so I thought I was going to go into television. Never thought, of course, as a kid singing on the weekends with our choirs and stuff like that. It was just that. It was on the weekends and I could get my singing in then do the radio, TV communication, because that's my first degree. And so I had the best of all worlds. I was singing on the weekends, making money on the weekends, and then doing what I love to do. And then, of course, a corporation by the name of Belo bought out Columbia, which meant that all of us got ushered out with a nice little note. Oh, we love you, but we don't want you.
But guess who does?
Yes. And so I started teaching school as a result of that particular thing that happened. And then, of course, I was recording as well with the choir. And then there was a producer, Thomas Whitfield, the famous Thomas Whitfield, who came from Detroit and said, hey, I want to record you solo wise. And I'm like, okay, do I have to pay something? Because see, back in the day, as quiet as it was kept, and too, folks were paying folks to put them on albums and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not going to pay anybody for the voice that should be giving me the money, not them taking it. So, it happened like that. And then all of a sudden, music became this huge part of my life. And eventually I had to stop teaching, which meant I went into full-time everything. I wanted to learn everything about the business. I had a wonderful encounter with Sylvia Rohn. Hey, Sylvia, I love you so much. And she changed my life from the label that I was on to and I was not a gospel artist on her label. I was an artist. And, you know, for all of us Lyte who are women, definitely, we don't want to be pigeonholed into one specific place, especially when we know we have the talent to be everywhere, you know. So I was really, really blessed by her that I was viewed as an artist and not just a singular inspirational artist. So yeah, it started way back then as a kid. Now we're talking for the Black Music Collective and my friends over there at Ebony.
You know what's so wonderful about Sylvia Rhone is I don't know that too many people that are in the music business can have a discussion and not say that they were affected in some sort of way by her mogul boss status. And she's inspired us all as an African-American woman at the top of her field and having such hands-on creatively with all of her artists. And, you know, I was blessed to be with her for 13 years and, you know, her first hip hop signing, actually her first signing as an executive. So, you know, we give kudos to Sylvia Rhone. As a matter of fact, for the second set, the series, Sylvia, if you hear this, we want to get you on so you could talk about the many beautiful things that you've done for all of these talented folks. So speaking of Elektra, 10 years into your career, after, you know, several Stella Awards and Grammy nominations, you did sign with Elektra and went multi-platinum. What was it like for you being thrust into the mainstream, having those lines that try to define you burst through, and now, like you said, you're simply an artist who's free to do all genres? How did that feel?
Oh, it felt amazing. First of all, as we said, to have Sylvia Rhone look at what I was doing and say, hey, listen, I love exactly what you're doing. I don't want you to change who you are. I just want to take you to the masses because people need to hear what you have in your voice. She's like, there's encouragement, there's this. And one of the producers who talked to her, Shep Crawford, love Shep Crawford.
Yes, yes.
He told her, because she said, describe Yolanda in a few words. And Shep said, we trust her. Whoa.
Right.
When she told me that, I mean, tears just started rolling down my eyes because that was something that I learned being the oldest of 6 kids, you know, here in Houston. My mom, my dad, grandmother, grandfather, everybody around, hey, we got to trust you. You know, you're the oldest. We got to trust you. And for Shep to tell her that, and then for her to trust that as well was, oh my. And I told her upon meeting her after she talked to me about, you know, doing some business, I said, I'm one of the hardest workers you'll ever know. You'll never have an attitude out of me. I will get there ahead of time. I'll leave later than most, but I want to do this for more than just me. I want to do this for young people who will look at me and say, hey, she did it. I can do it too. So, but you know, and you know, Lyte, because you're a legend in your own genre. I mean, in so many aspects, not just the music, but the acting and the voiceovers and all of that stuff. We know your voice. We feel comforted by your voice. You know that nothing prepares you for the whoa, you know, and you just have to be grounded because it was whoa with Sylvia. We were, I mean, I went to, where was I? I was in Italy for the first time for a private event for a young man's birthday. And the crazy thing about it was he just happened to see me on television. Now, had I not been with Elektra, that, you know, at that particular time when he turned on television in Italy, I'm like, whoa, this is like real, you know, because, you know, I traveled the United States and, you know, the islands, but never like overseas, you know, at the rate that I was traveling with the first record, Mountain High, Valley Low. That, man, It changed my life in so
I can
many
see you
places.
going back.
Yes, I'm like, I'm going back in it, and you see my eyes glowing, but they're also tearing because, whoa, that started it all. I mean, I'm talking to you because of it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. You know what's amazing is I think all of the folks who are just entering into music and really starting to sink their feet down into the foundation of what it means to be an artist can really take what it is that you just shared and learn from it. And that is, this is not In-N-Out Burger.
No.
This is all of the courses that you could possibly think when you get into this business, to take your time and not be in a rush to, oh, I got to be here, I got to get there, I got to. When you're there, for you to have told Sylvia, listen, I'm going to get there early and I'm going to leave late if necessary. I'm here for the work. I'm here to get it in, because you had a full understanding of what you put in is what you get out. And people around you can feel that energy. They know when you're there just to get and leave, as opposed to coming to serve. So we thank you very much for a career full of servitude, which we all as fans of Yolanda Adams can feel. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. You know, I say all the time, accolades and money only come before work in the dictionary. Period. No. It's work. First, it's your faith. Then it's your belief in yourself. Then it's the work. Because see, the one thing, and I use this as an example a lot, Clyde Drexler is one of my dear friends. We grew up at high school together, college together, and nobody saw the work behind his success. They just saw, you know, the player who could just, you know, pass it and do and assist and shoot and do all of these things. But this kid really, I mean, he didn't really make it onto the he didn't get a scholarship for basketball in college until his friend Michael Young, who was the superstar at another high school, told the coach, he's like, hey, you're going to miss out on an incredible guy if you don't sign him. So think about somebody who, yes, come on now. And so you think about the way kids are, you know, and no disrespect to social media, no disrespect to very talented people who come up on that medium. But the thing is, once you have this, okay, you have this barrage of fans, you have folks who are waiting for you every week to have another video up and things like that. Now, what happens when you translate that into the real world? Because the social media world, I mean, we can call it reality TV or, you know, however we want to put it. But the real work starts on that stage when you get that call and they're like, okay, we want you to do Oktoberfest, or we want you to do homecoming at Howard, homecoming at Hampton. You know, that's where it really tells the story. What have you prepared for? And how have you diligently prepared for your future? Because we all know that all we have is right now. So right now is preparation time. How do I want to be perceived? How do I want to sound? What, you know, the words that come out of my mouth, what kind of look do I want to have? All of those things are so important beyond the million plus that you may have on social media or the folks, you know, your video going viral. There's work behind that.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And you talk about, you know, the work that goes behind. I often tell people when you're posting, you know, young folks, just don't post a party. You know, just don't post the win. Let's see you in the studio. Let's see you in the gym. Let's see how did you get there? You know, some people need to see the road to the destination. So this way they have a clear picture and the transparency of seeing it's not black girl magic. It's real work going behind this. So what you see is the result of hard hard work being put into action. So for many artists, there are times when, you know, things change at the label, people come in, they change regimes. There's all sorts of internal challenges that happen. What would you say, you know, being the type of artist you are, inspirational, gospel, you know, crossing all of these lines, what has been some of the biggest challenges for you, or at least maybe one?
Wow. One of the challenges was when Elektra was bought out and Sylvia was no longer there, you know, and she, I mean, hey, to have someone believe in you the way she did, believe in me, and then have that taken away, that was devastating because now you have people in place who don't care who you are. They don't care how many millions that you sold. They don't care any of that because there's no reverence to what you're doing. And there's no reference to what you're doing as well. You know, they didn't do the work on Mountain High, Valley Low and Believe and things like that. So the next thing that comes out, well, hey, you didn't sell 2 million. So, you know, and it's like, but we didn't do what we did 3 years ago, 4 years ago. There's a machine that goes right. And so and here's another thing. Young people wanting to become execs that don't have the background and the experience and the foreknowledge of what it takes. You know, come on, let's look at one of the largest superstars that we have, Beyonce. If you look at how she prepares 2-3 years for a record, that, I mean, that work ethic, if anybody's listening and they want to know about work ethic, look at her. Because nothing for her comes easy. And she doesn't even allow herself to use the word easy. Of course, it flows out of her, but that takes time and it takes people believing in her. Yvette has been with her forever. And Yvette can tell you the mission statement of every project. She can tell you all of that stuff, but she has a vested interest in it. She believes in the work. She believes in the music. She believes in the words. And so when I went to the next aspect of the label, they didn't, I mean, I don't know what they believe, but they didn't believe that what we had done was, you know, and I don't want to put words in their mouth, but they didn't. You know, there's a saying, if you love me, show me.
Nope. I completely get it. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, there's so much that goes into the duplication of something that was successful. It's like, you know, do you bake? You make pies, Yolanda?
Yes.
Yeah. You can't leave out an ingredient.
Not one.
Like if it was a success one time, the first time you did it, you can't go on to make others and not have the same ingredients in it. So for them to expect the level of success that you had with someone like Sylvia, who had put the love and care into a project, because that's what it really takes. It takes an executive with a team of people from the top down. When she says this is going to work and I need you to do all that you can do to make it work, that's what you have to do. You know, I remember having a song, Keep On Keeping On, and it had been out for months and it had not caught traction. And Richard Nash, her record guy, he just kept pushing and he broke it in Seattle, and then it kind of trickled across the rest of the United States. But that was due to her at the top saying, I need this to happen, and them feeling accountable and a level of responsibility to make their boss happy. And so I'm just so happy that you had that experience with her. You knew you were able to exercise and see the fullness of what it is that Yolanda Adams can do with a team who really cared and put that effort into you. And so with that,
what could be done, you know, what could be done? If we think out of the box, if we use our God-given imagination, because that's what we have it for, where could we be? Oh my gosh. So
endless. The possibilities are endless.
There you go.
So we're going to take a break. P&G sponsored this series, and they did so because of the importance to them on focusing on Black creatives. They have recently started a new program that aims to broaden the way Black people are portrayed in advertising and entertainment through an increased investment in Black directors, actors, crews, and media. Let's take a look at this clip.
Next. Ask yourself why. These are the Black stories we've been shown. A narrow view that limits our understanding. But there's so much more to see. Of Black life. Let's widen the screen so we can widen our view.
All right, thank you, P&G.
That was good. I like that.
Yeah, that's something else. It always touches my soul. So your music has touched and inspired people around the world, and you have had a special relationship with your fans, and you're definitely an example of widening the screen. What keeps you inspired?
Oh, man. The first thing that keeps me inspired is my daughter, definitely. Mm-hmm. I am just so proud of her. I am proud of all the things that she's done in her life. She's already published with the Library of Congress. She's won different speaking trophies, and she's into acting, of course, theater arts major. Mm-hmm. And I just want to show her a different side of, not just the mother, not just the singer, but the businesswoman, how you can incorporate what you absolutely love into, dollars. We all have certain things that we're passionate about, as you said, baking, swimming, sewing, all of that stuff. Uh-huh. Turn your passion into power.
Right.
And so I definitely, she's my number one all the time. I want to make my family proud. So I make sure that I'm surrounded by them. We're a very tight-knit family. Mm-hmm. We don't do much without each other. Mm-hmm. And then I look at my fans, as you said, as an extension of the family. No, they don't get a chance to come home with me, but on stage when I'm, in their presence, or if I'm at the store or wherever I am, I always have time for someone, because you never know what that small amount of time will do for them for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely. They will take it and cherish it, I'm sure. So outside of creating music and performing, I know you're a member of the Recording Academy's Black Music Collective, whose main focus is to amplify and elevate Black music creators in the community and the industry. Can you tell us a little more about that and what type of work is being put into the creative, the collective?
Sure. I love the Black Music Collective. It's been a long time coming. And so under the direction of Harvey Mason Jr., who is now our CEO, we have two great, well, we have Jerry L. Johnson is our president of the Black Music Collective. And Valicia Butterfield Jones, she was DEI. I think she got a brand new position. Congrats.
Yeah, I think she's co-president or something.
Co-president. Right. Look, she's so smart. She could be anything she wants to.
That's
and
right.
So,
that's right.
Under their direction, under their direction a year ago, we put together some amazing thought leaders, music makers, trendsetters, young people who are up and coming, put them all together to make sure that we as the elders are teaching and instructing and encouraging as well as uplifting young people to give them a voice so that they don't feel lost, because there are times even at the top of your game as an artist of color, you feel like you're getting lost in the sauce because if an executive is like, okay, well, we'll work with you in 3 weeks or whatever, you're thinking, well, wait a minute, I'm excited about my baby because, we create babies. We create babies. We sit with them, we toil with them. And then all of a sudden, the birth comes when everybody sees it. It's like, oh, that's amazing. But they have no idea what it took to get there. And some of the people don't. And so because we know how precious that creation is, we want to make sure that not only do we give the encouragement and all that, but we give the support, not just mouth service, lip service. No. We're out there in the trenches with you. We're telling you, okay, go here, here, and here with your next steps. Make sure that you have your publishing. Make sure you have this. Make sure you have that. And young people are emailing and trying to get their stuff out there, not just on social media. So the Black Music Collective is the perfect place for music creators, not just in the, in the Grammy Collective, but everywhere, to take a look and say, you know what, if the Grammys have gotten to this point where they said that we're going to do this, maybe I should check this out. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And once again, that's one of those thoughts that when you're an artist, you have to think past the moment and take in the fullness of it. It's like, walking into a mansion and only going into one room.
And having the keys to every room.
And having the keys to every room with people there with information. It's like a video game, and you never know who's got the next piece of information that can get you to the next place, that can open up the bonus points, And so I think what I'm hearing about the collective, I love in terms of a safe space for the exchange of information, really, because that's what it's all about. Each one, teach one. So you have a very popular radio show, The Morning Show on Radio 1. What made you want to move into radio, and what have you learned about yourself moving into this area? And it seems like it makes sense seeing you were a communications major, right?
Exactly. Radio, TV, journalism was my first degree. So that's automatic. And then the transition from full-time, on the road 300 days and, coming home and stuff. It's like, Taylor's 4 years old. No, Taylor's now, I think she was going to middle school. Okay. And I said, now I need something that's going to keep me home so that I am here for the important stuff. Because what seems important to me on the road may not be important at the house. Figuring out which hotel for, Boston is not as important as getting ready for a theatrical presentation at her school. And so I said, you know what, God, I need something that's going to slow me down, give me the same amount of income so we can still live this life that we live. But I got to be there for the good stuff. Yeah. And then 2 weeks later, I'm telling you, if you get anything out of this person, people who are listening, speak what you want and believe what you want. Because as soon as it came out of my mouth, the intention came out of my heart. 2 weeks later, my attorney called and said, "Hey, you want to be in business with Radio One?" I'm like, "Sure. What do I do?"
Let me tell you.
He said, "Oh yeah, well they have slots open because they're bringing a gospel station, and you know they want your input and stuff." I'm like, "Oh, of course." And so the rest is history. Marcus, AV, and all of us, we have been having so much fun for the last 15 years.
That is amazing.
Just clowning.
Right. And having a good time. You know, that's what it's all about. And it's from your lips to God's ears when you know, are steeped in faith. Those things that you speak can easily come to pass very quickly. So you got to be really careful for what it is that you wish for or that you pray for. And so we are very happy that you are living out your best self within the confines of what it was that you were looking for. Because that's really important, to be able to stay in one place, not have to go get the money, but have the money come to you. So we thank God for that on account of you. You have started the Voice of an Angel Foundation, which focuses on mentoring high school students to help them find a career in education. You also work closely with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Resources to ensure that kids in low-income areas receive immunizations. Tell me why this is important to you.
And this was way before COVID, so
okay.
I've been working with them for a while. I got with the Department of Health Services as a result of Marian Edelman Wright. Okay. She and the Children's Defense Fund. Oh my gosh. I, as an educator, of course, I saw where there were kids who didn't have the ability to flourish and thrive like others, but if given the level playing field, they could do just as much or even more because they didn't have those things to worry about. And so as I worked with the Department of Health, I made sure, because it wasn't really just about immunizations, because, there are folks who are pro, there are folks who are con for that. And I let everybody speak for themselves, but like I said, as an educator, I know germs get passed around the classroom, just like bottles of water. So, so what I wanted to do was give my kids in my classroom a safe environment where they did not think that anybody in the room was not, how do I say that, was not capable. I gave everybody the opportunity, whether they were a tactile learner and they had to touch stuff, whether they were visual learners, however they learned, we incorporated all aspects of that. And so I got a chance to share that with the Department of Health. And so they did a little crayon program, little color book program. And it was really, really good. Now, as far as the Voice of an Angel Foundation, we're still doing that kind of work because I understand, just because, of course, my mom and dad were former educators. And so I understand the importance of knowledge, because knowledge changes everything. Knowledge and experience can change your life in such a way you don't even, and of course, imagination. I'm one of those I am a staunch believer in letting your imagination go wild. What I would do is I would take certain things from my travels, bring them back to the classroom, and have kids imagine what it was like to see, the Arch in St. Louis, or to see Shea Stadium, or things like that. So, getting them into that, and knowing that for 10 plus years as an educator, it's like, okay, I know what difference the kids made for me. And I definitely know the difference I made for them because I wouldn't let them fail. And I wasn't going to fail them as well. And so we teach young people who say in high school, I want to be an educator. I want to be an educator, no matter what it is. If you want to be an acting coach, if you want to be a football coach, baseball coach, tennis coach, any of those things, we teach you the basic fundamentals that you are going to get once you get to college. We put you through college, but you owe us 3 years of education on the ground, boots on the ground. You got to teach. Yes.
I love that. As you were talking, I was like, I see the Adams Online Academy.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw it, and just this new way of presenting education specifically for younger children and being aware that everyone is different. Everyone has different levels of comprehension and how it is that they understand things, whether visual, tactile, all of that matters. So we are very thankful for the Angel Foundation and the work that you all are doing. And even to the extent of they got to do 3 years, boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground.
I love it. You're seen as the queen of contemporary gospel. Who are some of the next generation gospel artists that inspire you?
Wow. Thank you so much for saying that. But there's so many queens of gospel, like the Clark sisters. They're my sisters. I love them so much. The Pace sisters. Cece and Vicky, all of those. But right now, I am loving all of my babies. Of course, Anita Wilson, Jacqueline Carr. Oh my gosh. What's my baby? Hawthorne, Corinne. Corinne. Why do we keep calling her Corinne? Her name is Corinne Hawthorne. Oh my Lord. Bree. There's so many young people. Here's the thing I say about, and because you have the same thing happening right now with young women in hip hop. There is not a shortage of great talent in this world. And so when I talk to young women, because I talk to all of those young ladies, when I talk to them, I encourage them to just make sure that they're being authentically themselves.
Yes.
Because you know the record business, we've been in it for a while. And so many people will nitpick and try to make you, well, why don't you do this like her? And why don't you do this like him? And why don't you do this? And it's like, because I'm not them. I love them, but I'm not them. And I'm presenting to you what I'm trying to give to you from me. But you keep telling me that it's not working. And I'm just so glad that in the long run, what God does, God exposes you so that folks can say, oh, she was right. Duh. I got the idea from him.
Right. It came on through.
Her, for those of you who are listening, it's like, hey, it's like, so yeah, I talk a lot to so many, to the youngins. I love, I'm surrounded by young people. I think that's what keeps me young, surrounded by them, surrounded by their great ideas, surrounded by their sounds, because, we all have a sound. And I just love what they're doing right now.
Yeah. The energy, that youth, there's nothing like the energy. And I'm sure even with Taylor, your daughter, when she comes home from school, it's so great to have her in the room. Young people change the energy. They shift the energy in the room and lift it on high. So I'm so glad to hear that you have such a long list of those that you talk to, and they're great that they have you to talk to and gain some wisdom from. So gospel music has become a global entity. Can you talk about some of your experiences traveling abroad and performing across the waters?
Oh, Lyte, we don't even have enough time, but but you know how it is when you go international. There's this different respect for the music. There's a different respect for your legacy. There's a different respect for your, for where you are and what you bring to the table. I think because they're so hungry for anything that comes from the US. They just swallow it up. I remember being in Japan, in Osaka, and we were opening up this series of theaters. Oh my gosh, I don't even remember the name of the theaters, but I did a theater that was so ultra. It had to be maybe 6 years ago. It was so ultra magnificent. I'm like, oh my God. And so we're downstairs on a break. You know, we had a lunch break during practice and all that stuff. And they had posters, big posters of me. And I'm like, so I guess I'm like somebody here. Because, you think that only happens to Michael Jackson and
right.
Those kinds of folks. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So that was eye-opening. But one of the most beautiful concerts I had, and I mean, I've gone to Africa thousands of times, but this one time, it was right after we lost one of our band members. And so the entire band went with me, and some of their family members. We went on safari. We did all of these things. And then the night of the concert, we stopped the music and the entire audience was singing Fragile Heart. And for that to be the signature song for that country and that place, because they were like, the guy said there were like 100,000 people out there. For that to be their signature song, I wrote that song as a result of a friend of mine passing, and that was the song that they were singing, and tears were just rolling down all of our faces, because it was like, for this to translate all the way over here to people who we may have never seen and may not see again, for music to be that powerful, oh my. So you understand the responsibility of it. You know, it's like, hey, it's a responsibility to be true to the people that are listening, because if you're not true to them, you do them a disservice.
Yes. That is awesome. Well, you took me on a voyage with that one. Well, that actually goes right into the next question, which is, we know when Miss Yolanda Adams is taking the stage, we know she's going to tear it down. What are you thinking about as you prepare, and when you're in that moment? Are you literally there, or have you taken flight? Like, what's happening?
Wow. That's a good question, because there are two answers for that. Now, if I am doing a tribute, that means that I want to make sure that the person who I am singing to feels that I am doing the song justice, not competing with their version of it, but doing the song justice and then honoring them in that moment. So that's the first thing that I think about. And then after that, and it might sound weird to other people, but this is how I prepare. So don't judge. No, I'm just. So what I do is I ask the words to, I'm like, okay, words, we've done this. You're in rehearsal. Let's do it tonight. And let's honor so and so and so and so, and I talk to myself, I talk to my heart, I talk to the words, I talk to my brain, because, when you command things, it has to come out the way that it's supposed to come out. And so if it's just a performance, like, it's one of my songs that I have done for years and years and years, I remind myself, hey, we've been here before. We know these words. We've lived these words. Now, let's translate these words so these words become human, so that these words become healing, so that these words become encouragement to anybody that'll just grab hold to them.
See, that's why I feel so good, because you put so much into it before you deliver it. I can't tell you how many times I imagine others just get up and sing. Like no one's talking to their brain. They're not saying, yeah, I want to be talking to mine about remembering lyrics. Like, we're going to know all these words when we get up on the stage. Well, having said that, what is one of your most memorable performances?
Wow.
Was it Africa when you performed the song and
Yeah.
you had 100,000 people singing it with you?
Yeah, that pretty, yeah, that's at the top 10. Definitely at the top 10. I think, and people, I mean, people saw the moment where it was the Soul Train Awards. I had been given the Lady of Soul Award. And while I am singing, my daughter is looking up at the stage and she's like, that. That to me, when I see that played over and over again, it just means the world to me. Because again, I have built my career on being truthful, being honest, being encouraging, being vulnerable. And for my own child to feel that and to feel that love and to feel feel proud of her mom in that moment. Oh my gosh. That's yeah.
Everything.
Every time I see that, yes, that's everything. That's everything. That's the number one.
Right. No, that is an awesome feeling. Because, you know, Lynn Richardson, who I work with, who's the COO of
love her.
Everything MC Lyte. She always says, you know, however one is in one area, you should be in another. So you can't go out and heal the world if your household is in an uproar, or if your child is feeling neglected, or if your husband is not feeling loved, or, you know, like everything should be working as a symphony. And so when you say that, I mean, that's exactly the thing that you want, is for your daughter to feel the same way that all of these people out there feel. I mean, of course, she should feel even more special, but the fact that she's getting what it is that you're giving, and she's able to see what it is that you do in the world and want to emulate that. I'm imagining that one day I'll interview her.
Yes.
And she'll say that you are her inspiration.
Oh.
So, okay, I've got one more for you. There's a whole lot of collaborations happening in the gospel world. Is there a collaboration that has not happened that you would like to be a part of with someone? Who would you like to collaborate with?
Everybody in the world knows I love Stevie Wonder.
Ah,
oh my gosh.
okay.
If I could collab with Stevie
Ooh.
On this next project, Stevie, did you hear me?
We
or
can
any
start.
project. Look, if we're in his piano room and I get a chance to sing with him, I'm fine. That is my number one collab. I love Stevie, have loved him forever and ever. We have promised each other over the last 30 years that we were going to do something together, but
You know what? We're going to start lobbying for
yes.
this immediately. The next time I see or hear him around, I'm saying, when's that happening with Miss Yolanda Adams? So our final question, you have accomplished so much in your career, Yolanda. And when you have a conversation about gospel legends, your name is always mentioned, if not first. Yolanda, when it is all said and done and you look back at this illustrious career of yours, what do you want your legacy to be?
Whoa. That I made life for whoever listened to my music or ever saw a performance. I made life better because of the message that came across, because of the sincerity in which it was given and the truth that it represents.
That's it. Nice in a button. I would like to thank my guest, Yolanda, for sharing her journey with us today. Again, this is the Black Music Collective podcast. Stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you so much, Yolanda.